In this video I'm going to look at the XPS of polymethyl methacrylate, PMMA. XPS is well suited to analysing samples such as PMMA because the chemical state of carbon and also the chemical state of oxygen produce photoemission peaks that are offset in binding energy. This means if we can identify a different chemical state for carbon and a different chemical state for oxygen, we can look for a number of peaks that are offset and in the proportions of the atoms that we have indicated here. So for example, carbon in a CH type bond appears twice in this PMMA, whereas carbon that is bonded to carbon only and is in fact bonded to a carbon that's double bonded to oxygen, this produces a different chemical state from the CH, and we ought to see one of these relative to two of the CH. Similarly, we've got carbon double bonded to oxygen and single bonded to oxygen. This unit here produces a carbon that ought to be in a different chemical state, and we also have carbon that is bonded to hydrogen and single bonded to oxygen. So we ought to find photoemission peaks that have a fingerprint within the energy spectrum that match this analysis of what we should see for carbon 1s and oxygen 1s. I'm now going to illustrate how I can correlate the information in PMMA and this color coding that I've used here with data that has been measured from PMMA and has had a peak model applied to the carbon 1s and the oxygen 1s. So when I load the data file, we have a survey spectrum, the carbon 1s, the oxygen 1s, and a valence band. So what I would like to do is correlate the colors for the carbon 1s, so I'm applying the tile display parameters dialog window to the tile that I just selected. And this allows me to go to the colors property page and select the synthetic components option. This provides me with a color palette which defines the colors that we see here. So the first color we see is the red, the second is a green, so that's the next color we see here for this component, then blue, and then purple. So we see that colors are ordered according to the custom color palette. Now if I want to change these, I can use the option to define the custom colors, and the first color that I need to define is for the peak with two carbon atoms, and that was orange. The second one was brown, and that's the CC carbon. Then the CO, that was green, and then the CC, that was blue. So I've now identified these component peaks with a new set of colors, and when I press OK, the apply button becomes active, so I can now apply these colors to these components. So we have colors appropriate for the carbon 1s, but not necessarily appropriate for the oxygen 1s. I would like to use the same colors, so I'm going to go to the global property page, apply to all tiles. That means the colors I've just set up for the carbon 1s will now apply to all of these tiles when I press the apply button.